Hello, everybody. Welcome to the MTG Place podcast, your place for all things magic. I'm Corey, and with me, like always, is James. How's it going, James?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you doing tonight?
Pretty good. Played the decathlon this weekend and busted out right away. I played the correct deck, though, I think, because it was a sealed pool of about, I don't know, it was like 6 extra packs or 4 extra packs or something, so there was like a shit ton of extra rares added into. Because it was like the final event where everyone had the same sealed pool.
Oh, yeah, it's the crazy one, right?
Yeah. I feel like I played the correct deck, though, because I lost in the first round to a mirror match. So I must have built the correct deck. That was the
That's
best.
rough. It's rough when you lose to like basically what you got.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's cool. We're going to play a couple sponsors here. First one is TCG Player. We have an affiliate link in the show notes. We know you're going to buy some cards anyway. You might want to buy some of the cards we talk about on today's show. So please click that link. If you do so, it helps support us and lets them know that we sent you over there. And the second way is directly on Patreon. We can get some cool perks over there, like merchandise and playing Magic games with us.
Yeah. And speaking of playing cards, looks like we got some new ones to talk about here, huh?
Yeah, so today we're going to talk about the All Will Be One Commander cards. We're doing the Commander cards first because they were finished spoiling today. The full set will be finished spoiling like tomorrow or so, but we'll talk about that in our next episode. So we're going to go in Wooburg order, and we're going to talk about just mythics and rares that are not reprints in the Commander decks or the Commander cards that are in set boosters.
Yep. So not too many cards this time. This is a pretty small set since there's only 2 decks to begin with, plus a couple extra ones that are in special packs. So we're going to get right into it with white here. So first one we got is Clever Concealment. It is 2 white for an instant with Convoke. And if you don't know what Convoke is, that's your creatures can help cast a spell. Each creature you tap while casting the spell pays for 1 colorless or 1 mana of that creature's color. So actually, if you have white creatures, you can basically pay this for free, which is pretty sick. Any number of target non-land permanents you control phase out. Sick.
It's interesting. It's an instant. You can phase out the permanents you want to not die.
And it's possibly able to play for free, which is also pretty powerful.
Yeah, if you're like a mono white deck and you have 4 creatures out and someone plays a board wipe, you're like, okay, cast this for 0. I'm just tapping my 4 creatures.
That seems pretty nice. Free board board stickiness is good.
It seems good.
And if they're tokens, they don't lose their they don't die.
Right, yeah.
Because phasing out is not the same as being exiled.
Yeah, it seems really good in like mono white token decks, or maybe even green white token decks.
If there's enough white.
Like if you're a creature-based deck, I feel like if you're not a creature-based deck and you would rather have Teferi's Protection, you might only play that because that's just better.
Yeah.
But this you could cast for 0 if needed, so...
Yeah, you don't
this
have...
It's definitely better in a creature-focused deck.
You don't have like the life freezing like Teferi's protection gives you, or like the you can't be targeted or whatever. But this is very, very good for your board. So very good for a creature-based deck.
I'd see this being played in almost every white deck, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like if you have creatures, I mean, unless you're some weird combo deck.
Unless you're like a control deck, maybe you don't care. But yeah, if you're creature-based, this is for you.
All right, next up we got Glimmer Lens. It's 1 and a white for an artifact equipment. It has a new keyword ability that is in All for One called For Mirrodin. When this equipment enters the battlefield, you create a 2/2 red rebel creature token and then attach this equipment to it. Whenever equipped creature attacks and at least one other creature attacks, draw a card. And then the equip cost is 1 and a white.
All right.
So
does that make this a red color identity then? Because it creates a red token?
I'm going
How
with
does that
no.
work?
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going with no because how the ruling is currently, um, it's only if the mana symbol appears on the card.
Okay. So you can theoretically play this in a mono white deck.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you can play this in a mono white deck.
Interesting.
But yeah, the four mirroring ability is kind of a unique
Yeah.
play on the old like germ token ability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically. Interesting.
So I don't know. What do you
Um,
think about this? You got to attack with another thing and this to draw a card, but it's a white card draw.
that's that's not hard to do. White usually has plenty of creatures to attack with, so I feel like that's pretty easy for them to do in
You do
most
have to
cases.
you do have to find a way to give it haste if you want to attack with the token right away.
Right. That's something white usually doesn't do. That's why, like it creates a red creature. So like if a white red deck, that would
Yeah,
be pretty easy because red likes haste. So yeah,
yeah. I think there's
that's a good color combo.
more at home with the red white deck. If you need card draw though, and you have an artifact deck of some sort, which a lot of the artifact decks are red white or um, Mardu colors, so
Yeah.
this would be a good fit in those decks.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, seems very good, honestly. Next up, we got Kemba's Banner. It is 3 and a white for an equipment that's an artifact. And it has this one also has 4 mirrored in. So same as the last one, you get a 2/2 red creature rebel attached to it. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each creature you control, and equip is 2 and a white. So in a creature based deck, this can be very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been huge on the equipped creature gets 1/1 for every creature you control effects. I think there's like a sword thing that does that, costs like 3 or 4, and then like 3 to equip as well. Um, like I don't mind the 3 equip cost; it's a little expensive,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah, it's a little pricey.
the 4 mana to begin with kind of sucks too. But
Yeah,
it is nice that it comes on. So it's just how much does that token matter? So you're getting
right.
so if you play this on turn 4, say you played, turn 1 Sol Ring or something, turn 2 Ramp,
Yep. Yep.
turn 3 you played a creature, and then turn 4 you play this. You're getting like a 4/4 for 4. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel the later the game is, the bigger board you have, the better. But at that point, you're probably
Yeah.
ahead in the game.
Yeah.
So I don't. It's one of those like I feel like it could be good in the right scenario, but it almost is like a win more card. So
Yeah.
it'd probably be the first one I cut if I need to make room for something.
In like a weenie deck or something, maybe this is good because I'll give it some teeth that it might not
Right? Yeah.
have.
Yeah. If you
But
need a way to
yeah,
finish it or something.
it's a finisher for sure. But it is definitely a win more card. You're definitely right about that.
Next up, we got Norn's Choir Master. It's 3 white white for a 5/4 Phyrexian Angel. Flying in first strike, whenever a commander you control enters the battlefield or attacks, you get to proliferate. Which, for those that don't know, you get to choose any number of permanents and/or players and give them another counter of each kind already there. And with this set, there are going to be people adding lots of poison counters and sunburst
Yep.
counters and all the old counters you remember from back in the day that
Poison counters, gross.
people don't like. But you
Yep.
get to proliferate it every time your commander enters the battlefield, or a commander under that you control enters the
Yep.
battlefield or attacks.
So if you have partners, that's even better.
Yeah, you can play both and get it, and just attacking with it when you get to.
Yep.
It seems like it could be good if you're built around a counters based strategy.
With the right deck build, this can be very powerful. Depending on which kind of tokens you want to do. Like, if you're going to be one of those people and do infect, yeah, that can probably work. And there's plenty of other ones too, like mana, +1/+1 counters, all sorts of stuff like that.
I feel the most likely fit for this deck is in that like the Abzan 1/1 counter deck or the experience counter type decks from that. Remember that commander set, and you can keep adding more of those then, or just like Super Friends Planeswalker deck.
Yeah, loyalty counters definitely a thing. There's lots of uses for this. And honestly, 5 for a 5/4 flying for a strike, that's fine by itself too. So yeah, this has got a lot of utility to it, so it's pretty useful for sure. Next up, we have Norn's Decree. It is 2 and a white for an enchantment. Whenever one or more creatures an opponent controls deal combat damage to you, that opponent gets a poison counter. Oh, see? We're already playing into it. Whenever a player attacks, if one or more players being attacked are poisoned, the attacking player draws a card.
Okay, this is just yuck, right?
That's just disgusting.
Like, this is a great card, first of all, but it's horrible to play against. Like, this is like a horrible ghostly prison, right? Like, anyone that deals combat damage to me, they're getting a poison counter. And then it incentivize everyone attacking people that have the poison counter because the people attacking are going to draw cards the whole board table.
Yeah.
So, like, oh, you attack, you get a poison counter. Now everyone's going to attack you back because they want to draw cards.
Yeah, exactly.
It's horrible.
You just
like a very good ghostly prison. Like, this is just replaces that, right? Like,
outright, yeah, easily.
Like, so good.
This puts politics and like everything like on the table, basically.
I feel like this is going to be another one of those cards that we're going to see a lot, and it's going to be one of those whenever it gets played.
Everyone's going to absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is disgusting.
Next up, we got Sky Hunter Strike Force, 2 and a white for a 2/2 flying cat knight with melee, which is whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each opponent you attack this combat. So if you swing with multiple people at once, it'll get bigger. You'll always get one. And then Lieutenant, as long as you control your commander, other creatures you control also have melee.
Interesting. Okay. So just attack everybody.
Yeah, it's incentivizing go wide, splitting up your damage.
Yep.
So token deck, I swing at everybody with one token and one with the flyer, and then it's like everything's getting +3/+3. It's pretty good.
Yep. +3/+3 that can be very powerful. That depending on how many creatures you have on the field, that just multiplies your damage literally. So it goes from like, it's just a little bit to, that's actually a lot.
Yeah, even like worst case, if you're playing one-on-one, like 3 for basically a 3/3 flyer is still good.
Yeah, that's
like it's
fine.
not horrible.
Yep.
So.
All right, and then we got one more white card here. We got Staff of the Storyteller. It is 1 and a white for an artifact. When Staff of the Storyteller enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Whenever you create one or more creature tokens, put a story counter on Staff of the Storyteller. And then it has pay a white and tap it, remove a story counter from Staff of the Storyteller, draw a card. So more card draw.
Yeah, this seems like very good white card draw because at the minimum you're getting a 1/1 and pay 1 tap draw a card. In a token deck, this is just nutty, right?
This is your any
single time you make tokens, you're going to add a counter to it so you can draw.
Yeah, you're never going to run out of gas as long as it's in the field. Just like draw.
It's going to be an extra card almost every turn for 1 mana. Like
it's a Howling Mine basically.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. Seems good to me.
I think we'll see it in token decks for sure. It's cool artwork too.
Yeah, that's a cool card. I like it. Well, that's white.
White seems really good, don't you?
Very busted.
Yeah, especially the stupid poison counter thing.
We're gonna definitely see that, like in our play group for sure. We're going to see that. I'm going to absolutely hate it when I see it too. I know it.
So on to blue here. We got Mirage Mockery. It's 2 and a blue for a sorcery. Choose one. Create a token that's a copy of target artifact creature you control. Create a token that's a copy of target non-artifact creature you control, or you can entwine it for another 3.
Yep. So you can do both.
Yeah.
So that could be good depending on what you're targeting.
Yeah, realistically, it's 1 mana cheaper than a clone, right?
Yep.
So you pay 3, you get a copy of something.
Mm-hmm. Or pay 6 and get 2. Like, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, if there's something good on the field, then it's basically a cheap clone, essentially. So
it seems good. Doesn't seem super powerful, but it seems pretty good.
Yeah, it seems decent.
You can only target your stuff too, which makes it a little bit worse. But
And then we got Synthesis Pod. It is 3, and then a Phyrexian Blue. So that can be played with either a blue mana or 2 life. And then so that's for an artifact. And then it has pay 1 and a Phyrexian Blue and tap it. Exile a spell you control. Target opponent reveals cards from the top of their library until they reveal a card with mana value equal to 1 plus the exiled spell's mana value. Exile that card, then that player shuffles. You may cast that exile card without paying its mana cost.
So you're
God,
casting a spell, and then on the stack, removing it from the stack and casting one of your opponent's cards.
that's just gross. And you can
It
do this
seems,
literally like once a turn.
yeah, it's a interesting card. If you want like a
Yeah.
chaos type deck or a
And it
deck where
doesn't.
you're playing your
And it doesn't
opponent's
even have
stuff,
to
it
be in
seems
blue.
good.
It's the worst part. You could literally play this on any deck.
Yeah, you can play it on any deck. I mean,
You just pay 2.
obviously your commander's identity has to be blue,
Well, yeah, that's true. I guess. Yeah.
but you could play it in like a 5-color deck, 3-color, 2-color, 1-color, as long as
Mm-hmm.
blue's in it. So yeah, but in
This,
not commander, you could play this on any deck.
right.
It
This is crazy.
seems fun, especially if you have a deck built around casting your opponent's cards, like you play a Tolly and this and all
Yeah.
that stuff. I don't know how good it is because you're paying you're paying the extra mana already to put it out, and then you're
Yeah.
paying the extra mana that you're getting by activating this ability and 2 life
Yeah.
or 2 extra mana just to cast something from your opponent's deck instead of your own.
Right. I mean,
And if you
it
want something
depends.
good, you're still going to have to play something high costing.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's really hard to say what you're gonna hit. It's this is a chance card basically. So
Yeah.
this is a you want to watch the world burn kind of card.
I'm sure there's going to be some dumb combo somebody finds with it, and that's good.
Oh yeah, stuff like this that always happens. So that's it for blue. Blue's a very small subsect since it's not in either of the commander decks. This is just you get this through like a special pack, I believe.
Yeah, the set boosters, I think.
Yeah. And of course, there's other ones too, but those are reprints, I'm guessing.
All right, and then now on to black here. We got Geth's Summons. 2 black for a sorcery. Return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So far, I like that. It's dread return. Corrupted. For each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters as you cast a spell, put up to 1 target creature card from that player's graveyard to the battlefield under your control.
Oh, geez.
So if your opponents have 3 or more poison counters, you can get more than one thing.
That seems good. 4 for 2 things is very good. For sure.
Yeah, if you get 4 for at least 2 things, seems good. 4 for 1 thing is like uncommon level.
That's fine.
You might still play it.
Yeah.
So obviously you're only going to play this in a deck where you can actually add poison counters to people. Otherwise, you ain't probably going to play it.
Yeah. It incentivizes the poison. Next up, we got Monumental Corruption. It is 3 black for a sorcery. Target player draws X cards and loses X life, where X is a number of artifacts you control. So in artifact deck, this is very, very good.
Yeah, it seems like it's more support for the mono black artifact deck that came out with the Warhammer set.
Yep.
I would definitely.
That was already a very powerful deck to begin with.
Yeah, I would put this in that deck for sure.
Oh yeah, that would make it even better, I'm sure. Black, life's a resource, so you don't care if you lose life.
Yeah, but realistically, you're going to want at least 5 artifacts out, right, before you cast this.
Yeah, because you're paying 5 to do this.
Yeah, so you want to draw at least like 5 cards.
Yeah, you really want it to, match up.
I mean, or if you have really heavy artifacts, you can just cast this on your opponent and kill them.
Yep, you can also do that. Like, I got like 20 artifacts in play. You're dead. How about that?
Yeah. All right, next up we got Phyresis Outbreak, 2 and a black for a sorcery. Each opponent gets a poison counter. Then each creature your opponents control gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each poison counter its controller has.
Oh, ick. I do not like this.
So it's a sorcery that puts poison counters on everybody. And
Literally
then
everybody
and then
except you,
everything gets at least 1 -1/-1,
if not more.
if not more.
That's
This seems,
gross.
yeah, it's good. It's gross. People are gonna hate you for it.
Yeah, this is just your typical degenerate poison counter deck. It's great.
Yeah.
Anyone who's playing poison is gonna play this because this is, especially in a multiplayer match like Commander, this is very good. Very, very, very good. So that's black. Black does not seems pretty decent. Definitely
Yep.
very poison based, it seems. So
Yep.
on to red now. First of all, we got Chisgoria Forged Tyrant. It is 6 red, red, red. That's a total of 9 for mana cost. It is a 5/4 legendary dragon creature that has affinity for artifacts. So, for those of you who might not know that, that means it costs 1 colorless less for each artifact you control. So you can make this, if you have 6 artifacts in play, this can cost 3.
Yep.
Which is much better. It has flying and haste. Whenever Chisgoria Forged Tyrant attacks, exile the top 5 cards of your library. You may cast an artifact spell from among them this turn. If you do, it has affinity for artifacts as well.
Seems good in an artifact deck, right?
Yep. If you have 6 artifacts out, you basically, this card is an engine for your deck. Like quite.
Yeah,
literally.
if you have 6 artifacts out, you're paying 3, swinging for 5, and then playing a 6 cost or less artifact.
Most likely playing what you've already rip off the top for free. Like very likely. Like seems pretty good, and it has haste, so you can do it right off the bat. Because why not?
Yep.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's a good card.
Next up, we got Gold Warden's Gambit, 6 red, red. For a sorcery that has affinity for equipment. So this spell costs 1 less for each equipment you control. Create 5 2/2 red rebel creature tokens. They gain haste until end of turn. For each of those tokens, you may attach an equipment you control to it.
So equipment-based deck, this is very good. Like swords and stuff.
Yeah, so again, in the equipment-based deck, you're just like, okay, I'm going to make 5 tokens, and then I can now equip all my equipment to it. This is really good if you're an equipment deck and somebody board wipes or something, and you just have the equipment sitting there and no creatures. Then you're like, oh, guess what? Now I have 2/2 haste.
Literally right back in the game. And if you have like all the swords out or something like that, it's like, oh, it costs 2 basically.
I mean, I feel like it's gonna be hard to have 6 equipments out. I feel like
it is a lot.
Most time it's probably gonna be 4 mana for this, maybe 5 mana. But even that for 5 2/2s with haste is not bad.
Yep, very, very good. And with the equipment attaching to them for free.
Right.
Also very good. If you have like something like Batterskull, something like any of the swords, Jit, and any of those really, really good equipment cards, like, yeah, you're going to want this. Next, we have Hexplate Wallbreaker. It is 3 red, red for an artifact that's an equipment. It has the 4 Mirrodin keyword. And then equipment creature gets +2/+2. Whenever equipped creature attacks, if it's the first combat phase of this turn, untap each attacking creature after this phase. There's an additional combat phase. And then it has equipped 3 red.
So it does cost a lot, but if you only giving this haste, you get additional combat for 5 mana.
Seems
honestly this is
not
swinging
bad.
On a 4/4. I like the artwork. The artwork's cool.
Yeah, it looks sick for sure. I feel like it's a lot, but extra combat phases you're usually paying around that kind of cost to begin with, so I'd say it's kind of on par.
Yeah, probably.
So yeah, pretty good.
Next up, we got Roar of Resistance. It's 1 and a red for the enchantment. Here's a way to give all your stuff haste. Creature tokens you control have haste. Whenever 1 or more creatures attack, you may pay 1 and a red. If you do, creatures attacking your opponents and planeswalkers they control get +2/+0 until end of turn. Oof. So it gives all your tokens haste, and then whenever you or an opponent attacks, if it's attacking your opponent, you can pay 2, and then they all get +2/+0. So you could buff your opponent's creatures when they attack your other opponents too.
That's really funny.
It seems pretty good. I mean, just your tokens have haste for 2 is pretty good.
Yeah, just that for 2 mana is honestly not bad. Like what's like anger?
That's 4.
Or yeah, so like and it has to be in the graveyard.
Right.
Or yeah, this is just boom, your stuff has haste. There you go. Have fun. Yeah, seems like a, great enchantment for sure. Next we got Volshok Factory. It is 2 and a red for an artifact. It has tap it, add a red, put a charge counter on Volshok Factory, and then it also has pay 2 and a red and tap it, sacrifice Volshok Factory, create an XX colorless golem artifact creature token with haste, where X is the number of charge counters on Volshok Factory. Activate only as a sorcery.
So it's a mana rock that later on you can sacrifice for an XX goal.
That you just make huge, apparently.
Seems okay.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. I hate that you can only activate it as a sorcery.
Yeah, that's kind of... You can't make it a block, like respond to like attacks or something, which is sad. But yeah, it's a game finisher.
Yeah,
and it has utility.
If you play this on turn 3, you're gonna mana rock for a while with it. Obviously, I don't know. It seems okay. The 3-cost rocks, I usually only put them in if they're really good. But I mean, this can become a finisher late in the game.
This can be good in the right scenario.
This is on the borderline that I'd probably play it if it's, especially if I'm in a mono red deck. I'd probably play it. I don't know how much I'd play it in a multicolor deck, but
yeah,
maybe. Or if I have ways to proliferate the counters, I might play it too.
Right, and we've seen proliferation earlier on, so that's very possible. Because charge counters are definitely a thing. So in the right kind of deck, this could be very good. Just on its own, though, it's fine, but
yeah, it's like mediocre.
It's not amazing, yeah.
So what do you think about red?
I think red's a little weaker, although I will say the dragon's really good. Yeah. The gambits can also be very good in the right deck. So yeah, red. It's definitely got some really good cards, but I feel like it's not as busted as like white was. Like all of the cards were insane. So
all right, now we're on to green here. You got Contaminant Grafter up first. It's 4 and a green for a 5/5 Phyrexian Druid with Trample and Toxic 1, which is a new keyword ability. That is, if you deal damage to an opponent, they also get a poison counter equal to the toxic.
Oh, God, why?
So if you get hit with this as a 5/5, or you trample over for 1, they take the one damage and they get 1 poison counter. And then it says, whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to 1 or more players, proliferate. And then Corrupted, at the beginning of your end step, if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, draw a card, then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield.
Oh, jeez.
So this is just bonkers.
This is just ridiculous in the card. Like, holy shit. Like, hello?
Yeah, so you're going to give someone a poison counter when you hit them. Then you're going to proliferate counters super easily because it's a second ability. And then its third ability is, if that was enough insult that you're putting 3 poison counters on people, you now get to draw a card and put a land into play.
Yeah. It's like, and this costs 5, by the way. It's like, what the hell?
Power level pushed, right?
Watsy, what are you doing? Hello? That's a crazy amount of power on 1 card. Very good. Very, very, very good. Any green deck is probably going to play this. That has a slot for it. Like, this is just insane.
I mean, honestly, you can play this without any other poison counter things too. Because
this is just fine by itself.
Yeah,
it does so much for
really
not that much mana. As long as
this could stick around for 2 turns.
Yeah,
you're good.
It's doing work.
Yeah. This is going to be one of those kill on sight cards.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's dying immediately. Let's see. Next up, we have Glissa's Retriever. It is 5 and a green for a 6/6 Phyrexian beast creature. It has haste and toxic 3. Glissa's Retriever can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. And then it has Corrupted. When Glissa's Retriever dies, exile it. When you do, return up to X target cards from your graveyard to your hand, where X is the number of opponents who have 3 or more poison counters. Holy shit, that's also very good.
Yeah, so 6 mana, swing in with a 6/6. You can't block it with anything weak with power 2 or less.
Can't jump it, really.
And if you take it, you take 6, and then you get 3 poison counters. Then when it dies, they're getting at least 1 card back if they hit someone with this.
Yeah, at least.
You're going to have to jump it with a 3/9. Like, it's ridiculous. This is
another good, ridiculous card. It's another card. It doesn't necessarily have to be a poison deck. You can just play this. It'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, just a 6/6 haste can't be blocked by 2 or less isn't bad.
That by itself is good. And then the 3 poison counters, and then the Corrupted on top of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, busted. Very, very, very busted.
All right, next up we got Tangleweave Armor. It is 2 green for artifact equipment with the old school living weapon where you make a 0/0 germ and attaches to it. Equipped creature gets +X/+X, where X is the greatest mana value among your commanders. And the equip cost is 4.
So that's your deck, yes.
Yeah, so your commander or partner commander, whichever one has the highest CMC.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you played this in Ur-Dragon deck, you're getting like +9/+9.
That's a lot of counters. Or like Prosh or something. That's like
that's
10.
6. Or
10, that's
yeah.
6, yeah.
Progenitus is 10, yeah.
Yeah, Progenitus is 10. Like, yeah, there's some commanders that this works really well with, where you can get double digit.
I think you would want it to be on the absurd, like 8 to 10, 7 or more range, right? To play this for 4 because the equip is 4.
Yeah,
like you'd want to get
paying
at least
8 all together.
Like you're paying 8 altogether. You want to get if you're
weapon.
You're getting 1 dude out of it that they'll probably kill. But so if you pay the 8 mana, you're going to want to at least get 7 or 8, +7 or +8 before you use this, I would think.
Yep. So yeah, this is made for a big boy deck. Need a big boy commander for this.
Because it doesn't grant trample or anything. Like if it granted trample, I'd say okay, you could play this even if it was like a +4/+4.
Right, then it wouldn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least not as much. But it's just stats. Like that's all it's giving. So
yeah, because
you definitely want that to count.
And chump it all day. So
yeah. And finally for green, we have Wormquake. It is 4 green for a sorcery. It has Corrupted. Create an XX green Phyrexian worm creature token with trample and toxic 1, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast the spell. Then for each opponent with 3 or more poison counters, you create another one of those tokens. Then it also has flashback 8 green. That's a very high flashback cost, but this is a pretty decent card, really.
Yeah, so it's 6. So think of without the poison counter part, it's 6 for a 6/6 trample toxic 1.
Yeah.
And then 10 for a 10/10 trample toxic 1.
Yeah. That's very good.
If someone has 3 or more poison counters, you get at least 2 of those. Or you get 2 of them.
Or more. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's very good.
Yeah, it seems good. Even like you could just play this on its own, I think is alright. Like 6/6 trample toxic 1 is not bad.
No.
10/10 toxic 1 trample is pretty good.
It's pretty good, yeah. That's a big boy that they have to deal with. And if they don't, they take a crap ton.
No.
Yeah. Green seems very powerful and very broken. Holy shit.
Yeah, lots of poison counters.
Yeah. That's great. Why do they have to make a keyword where you get poison and damage counters? What the hell?
I know, right?
They probably figured,
my thinking is they're probably like, well, Infect just does all of the damage and poison, so that's worse, right? Whereas here it's okay, you take only 1 poison counter, but you also take the regular damage.
Yeah, it's like you get both basically. I mean, sure, you don't get the wither effect like you do with
Right.
poison, but because that shit sucks. But this isn't a whole lot better.
Right.
You're still gonna
It's still
hate it.
it's like honestly, it's not as bad, but it's still good. Like
Yeah. Oh, it's very good. It's very, very, very good.
especially on things with trample, because it's like, oh, hit for
Yeah,
one, take the
it's
1
gonna
poison.
hit no matter what, most likely, unless you have a huge army in front of you. Like, yeah, it's gonna hit them.
Yeah, the big argument on Reddit and everything is should they be upping the poison counters to 20 now in Commander due to all these new poison cards? But I think they're going to wait and see how it plays out. I mean,
Yeah,
because
it's gonna
regular
be
poison. I mean, yeah, you lose to it with Blightsteel, but other than that, you don't lose to it that much in Commander.
no,
So,
not usually. But we'll see what happens. They're definitely adding a ton here, and they're making it very easy in some cases. So yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely see what happens.
all right, so we're on to multicolor.
Yep.
So we got Nylea Sun's Vanguard, 2 red white for a 3/3 legendary creature human rebel. Attacking tokens you control have double strike. Whenever one or more tokens you control attack, exile a top card of your library. During any turn you attack with a token, you may cast that card.
That's a really good card for tokens. Holy shit.
Yeah, this is, I think, the commander of the token deck.
That makes sense.
So red white tokens.
Oh yeah. This is the red commander. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So red white tokens super godly because you basically impulse card draw that stays because you can play it whenever you attack with a token.
Yep. Yeah, that's very good. Yep. Seems great to me. I want this
And just your tokens having double strike. Like, okay.
Yeah, that by itself is very good. It's like I want this in my red white deck.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of card support.
I'm getting so much fuel. Holy shit, like it's insane.
For your green white tokens and your Naya tokens.
And yeah, the Naya deck's getting a lot too. I'm gonna have to look at my deck list and make some changes, I think. Let's see. Next we got Othari Sun's Glory. It is 3 and Boros, red white, for 3/3 legendary Phoenix creature with flying, lifelink, and haste. Whenever Othari Sun's Glory attacks, you get an experience counter. Then create a 2/2 red rebel creature token that's tapped and attacking for each experience counter you have. Then you can also pay 2 red and white, or Boros, tap an untapped rebel you control. Return Othari from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped.
So this has a lot going for it. First of all,
it does.
It's 5 for a 3/3 flying lifelink haste. It's pretty good.
Yep.
Second of all, you get counters when it attacks, so you're at least going to get 1/2/2 for the first one, then 2, then 3, then 4, etc.
And it's just going to multiply basically.
Thirdly, if you have, it works well with the other experience counter cards from the old sets, the red and white ones that did that.
Yep.
So if you already have experience counters, when you're attacking with this, you're going to get a boatload of tokens.
You get so many.
And then fourthly, you could play this in a rebel deck, like Rebel Tribal, and keep bringing this back.
It'll keep coming back.
Like this seems like you could play this as a commander pretty easily too.
Yeah. You literally could play as a commander and never have to pay the commander cost after.
Yeah, as long as you have another rebel.
Yeah, which I mean, if you play around it, you will. So yeah. And then you can also always proliferate the experience counters as well, so you just get more and more and more. You just get just an army of dudes. That seems very good.
Seems really good. Although the Phoenix looks almost like a dragon, because it looks like
it kind of does. So I believe this is the other commander, if I remember right. We have Ixhel Scion of Atraxa. It is 1 white black green. Flying, Vigilance, Toxic 2. It's a 2/5. And it has Corrupted. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent who has 3 or more poison counters exiles a top card of their library face down. You may look at and play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. And you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. So you just play this shit, basically.
Yeah, you play this stuff, but the annoying thing is the flying vigilance toxic 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so most of the time, you're just going to be like, okay, take it for 2, you get 2 poison counters. Okay, take it for 2, you get 2 poison. It's like 5 hits and they're dead.
Yeah, 5 hits are dead. Yeah. And it has flying, so it's hard to deal with.
And it has vigilance, so you can still block with it.
Yeah, and you can block. It's
It
beautiful.
seems pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good commander, for sure. That's powerful. Hard to deal with, too, because 2/5 is a lot.
Next up,
high stats.
Yeah, that's a good card. Next up, we got Vishgraz the Doomhive. 2 in Absence. That's white, black, green. For a 3/3 Phyrexian legendary Phyrexian insect. Menace and Toxic 1. When Vishgaz the Doomhive enters the battlefield, create 3 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. And Vishgaz gets +1/+1 for each poison counter your opponents have.
Okay.
Disgusting.
Gross. You just want to poison everybody.
Yeah, it gets bigger, and it has menace, so they block with 2 things to not get the poison counter, and then you're making 3 dorks that can poison people.
Yeah, that's just nasty. That's so much poison in one card. Why?
I know, right?
That's right there. It's 4 things that give. That's literally almost half a hit right there.
Mm-hmm.
If all of them hit, they're almost half dead. Like literally, it's just like Jesus Christ.
Yep. And then you would have 4 counters, and this would be a 7/7.
Yeah, and then this is a 7/7. It's like, yeah, seems good for 5. By the way,
yeah, seems really good. Yeah.
All right, so that's the multi cards. Yeah, very very powerful cards. God damn.
Yeah, poison.
Quite good. So much poison, man. Oh God. It's just what we wanted. All right. Lastly, these are the artifacts. I believe these are all again in the set boosters. These will be separate from the decks, so they are not in the deck list. So first of all, we have a Mirror Commander, which is pretty cool. Urtet, Remnant of Memnarch. It is 3 for a 2/2 legendary artifact creature. That's a mirror. Whenever you cast a mirror spell, create a 1/1 colorless mirror artifact creature token. At the beginning of combat on your turn, untap each mirror you control, and then pay Wooburg and tap it. Put 3 +1/+1 counters on each mirror you control. Activate only during your turn. So that's good.
Yeah, so you could finally play Mirror as a commander, and you can play Mirror Tribal, which is awesome.
Yep, because that's not really been a thing
every time
before.
you're going to get more tokens, and they're all going to untap at the beginning of combat. So you can tap them for mana first, and then it's still attack with them.
Because a lot of them are mana dorks, so you use them for that, and then swing with them.
And then you
they get +3.
5 to put everything +3. Yeah. So you can literally I play all my mana dorks, 1 for each color. Tap all 5 of them. Tap this. Put 3 1/1s and everything. Oh, go to combat. They all untap.
They all untap. And they're all like 4/4s now, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah, that seems very very good.
Yeah, this deck seems sweet. I don't know how good it'll be, but I definitely want to build it because it seems fun.
It'll be fun to play. It's hard to say if it's going to be good, but yeah. We haven't this hasn't been a thing before, so
right.
It'll be nice to, try out for sure.
Next up, we got the Glistening Sphere. It's 3 mana for an artifact that enters the battlefield tapped, but when it enters the battlefield, you proliferate, and then it taps for a mana of any color. And then it has Corrupted. Tap, add 3 mana of any one color if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters.
So it turns into a Black Lotus, basically.
Better than Black Lotus.
Or Gilded Lotus, rather. Yeah.
So I think you're only playing this in a poison counter deck, though, right?
Totally. That's kind of the whole point.
I mean, I guess if you just want 1 Proliferate, you might play it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, a 3 mana rock, again, you want them to be good.
I mean, 1 mana of any color, you can do that with Arcane Signet or whatever,
Right.
But, in a poison deck, very good. It's a Gilded Lotus for 3. So, yeah, that's pretty nice. And then our last card of the set here is Lux Artillery. It is 4 for an artifact. Whenever you cast an artifact creature spell, it gains Sunburst. So for Sunburst is it enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each color of mana spent to cast it. At the beginning of your end step, if there are 30 or more counters among artifacts and creatures you control, Lux Artillery deals 10 damage to each opponent. So this is like a counters matters deck, basically.
Yeah, if you're playing this in a counters matters deck, I feel like you would play it even without the artifacts get sunburst ability.
Yeah, that's not necessarily something you need. You can do it with other stuff easily.
Yeah, so like I think you would play this in just a counters matter deck, just to like if you have 30 counters, you're dealing 10 to everybody.
Yep. Something like a modular deck might be really good for this because you just
that's where it'll be really
ton.
good because then you have artifact creatures and you can get the sunburst on top of the modular.
Yep.
So
you're gonna multiply tokens.
Best, yeah.
Yep. It's 10 to each opponent, like that's pretty good. And I feel like like an Arcbound deck, like you could do that fairly easily. Like that's not hard to do.
I mean, even like mono green, if you just play like that, what's that? There's an enchantment that's like if it has 100 counters, you win the game. But you could just get it to 30 and then play this.
Yep.
And just wait 4 turns and you win.
And you just win. In the right kind of deck, this can be very powerful for sure. Maybe not exactly like a game winner per se, but
they see it coming, right? Like it's going to take you got to set it up.
It's got set up,
and B, you got to have this survive for like 4 turns, right? So you're going to need a way to protect it and your board as well. So it's still a decent card though, because I feel like you're more likely to just be able to play it, especially if like for some reason the board's on a stalemate and you have a bunch of you both have a bunch of tokens or something, and you're like,
right,
throw this out, you take 10. And then they'll have to find an answer for it.
Yeah, they'll have to either destroy it or just take it like a man.
Or if you just play artifact creature deck, the sunburst could be good.
Yeah,
this would be pretty good in the Mer deck because you could just keep giving everything sunburst.
Yeah, like that the Mer Tribal. You could play this in it maybe. Very good in its own right. So that's all the cards for the set. The commander set.
Commander cards. Yep.
So
what do you think overall?
There's a lot of powerful stuff in here.
Yeah, it seems really good.
They didn't pull back any punches. They're going all out. This is pretty crazy. I mean, all these cards are at least decent, like if not insane.
Yeah, their response to people saying like you're printing poison again, don't you ever consider that for commander that could be busted? And they're like, yeah, we don't think about just one specific format when building a card. That's what they said. The commander's rule group could ban the card if they want to. So
yeah, and that's very fair.
We'll see what happens with that, but
we'll see. There's a lot of poison coming, I see, in our near future. As they cater to it hard.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff that'll definitely cater to that. So yeah.
The only thing that would be weird is if they did change it to 20, your Blight Steel wouldn't be an insta kill anymore.
Yeah, that'd be something, wouldn't it?
That would be weird.
That would be. I guess Blight Steel's always been just a game winner.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, overall, very powerful cards. The decks seem really fun. It's like from what I've seen. So, and
definitely some cards that I want to get and play.
And then, like the reprints that are in it are good. Like you got like the Arcane Signets and the Soul Rings, and you tip what you expect to be in a commander deck like this. Yeah. So, they seem well put together, and
they usually MSRP for around $40. So if you want to pick these commander decks up, go ahead.
Yep, it's definitely I'd say it's worth it.
You can use our TCG Player affiliate link.
Yeah. And that's about it for the set review.
Yeah, so thanks for listening, everybody. See you next time.